Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of All Effed Up. We're going to start pumping out episodes as often as I can. I'm really going to try to shoot for at least a couple times a week, because I definitely have no shortage of, any kind of anxiety filled stories or, just all around issues that I deal with on a daily basis. But yeah, so we're going to touch on a couple subjects today, but the main one I think today is going to be the stress and the anxieties that can come just from making a fucking decision about something. I, I have definitely have a experience in just all the stress that can bring you because I overanalyze everything. It could be the smallest decision in the world, and I just cannot help myself. I'm just like, oh my god. I think about every scenario. I think about, who's this going to affect? What are they going to say? What are they going to think? Just going crazy from the stupidest little things. But here we go. Let's get into this episode of All Effed Up with me, Will. Well, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. Got another fun-filled episode for you today, just of how tragic my fucking life is. But like I say in pretty much every episode, I just want to get these stories out there to hopefully someone can relate to them and take something from them, and maybe best case scenario, they learn how to deal with some of their own anxieties just by knowing that someone, some stranger is going through the exact same fucking thing. You got people around you every day that, for all you know, are going through the exact same thing. So, no worries. Everyone's got their own problems. But let's get into it. If you're anything like me, sometimes something as simple as making a decision, for me, a lot of it is professionally, being at work, just being in meetings or whatever, and maybe someone asks your opinion or whatever the case is, and you have the hardest fucking time making this decision because if you're like me, you run through all these different scenarios in your head about, what's this person going to think? What are these group of people going to think? How is this going to affect them? Are they going to think it's stupid? You even you think it's stupid before you even say anything, and it's a shitty way to live, just like anything that we deal with anxiety and all the stress that it can bring you just from something simple like that. I on a regular basis, just because of the just because of the who I am as a person, I'm not the most social person. Definitely not like I was when I was younger. I went through a short stint where I did not have a problem speaking my mind or anything like that. Then I kind of lost that confidence as I got older because I lost my friends that gave me that confidence. And, as I got to, different jobs and being around people that I didn't know, especially when I lived out west, the people, I don't know, they just seemed different. Maybe just because, they were raised with, I know we're raised with like hunting and stuff around the Midwest and everything, but I guess it's different out there. But just, I don't know, some people just were more outspoken, sometimes a little too much. You got these people that just can't help themselves. They have to be heard. They have to put out their comment or what the fuck ever. And that was really hard for me because, they'd launch off this verbal assault of commentary towards you, and they might not mean anything by it, but you, with your brain and the way that it functions, you can't help but think, these people hate me, or anything I say is going to sound stupid, or it's just a mixture of everything like that. And like I said, when it comes to making decisions for a team, or just hell, I could be sitting in a meeting and someone asks my opinion about something. Sometimes that can be hard for me because it's still in some form making some kind of decision or whatever it is, and it's just I don't know what to say. I keep running through my head, do I say this? Do I say that? Are they going to think this is dumb? Are they going to think that I'm dumb? Which, I have dealt with. And the sad part is, these meetings that I'm sometimes a part of, they can be, virtual meetings at work with no camera. And I still think to myself, dear God, don't call on me to say anything. Don't call on me and ask me my opinion or anything like that, because it's going to set off my anxieties, and I'm just going to be like analyzing the entire situation and analyzing any answer that I could come up with, and it's going to drive me over the fucking edge, and I might just go ahead and say something stupid just so they move away from me, or just because I can't help it. And the sad part about all that is that I want to be better. I want to be a team player because I know it's what I have to do. And then I will overcompensate. I'll step outside my comfort zone, my introverted comfort zone. And then that just sets off a whole nother level of anxieties and just worsens sometimes the situation. And the sad part is, this decision-making problem, the anxieties that I get from it, it's also affected my personal life, where, when me and the wife first met, it was putting me in a situation where I actually had to make decisions, whereas when I was with other girls, it was a mutual thing to end it or anything like that, or they would just up and end it and not really consult me. But it would get to those situations, and when we were dating, it was hard for me to be honest, because I didn't know how to be. I didn't know how to approach the situation, and it would just build up my anxieties from there. Obviously it's gotten better because I married the woman, but I figured out along the way she's about the only person that I can be honest with. Sometimes it still might piss her off and we might get in little spats over it, but I have also come to that conclusion that you're the only person that I care enough to be honest with for the most part. And that still kind of continues to this day, where I have, I guess unconsciously or whatever, made the decision, even though it gives me all kinds of fucking anxiety, that I don't care enough to make friends at this age. Where, when you were younger, you made friends, or at least I did, with a lot of people I worked with, or I'd become friends of other friends, and I just amassed this large group of people that I would hang out with on a regular basis. But I've kind of developed an anxiety about that, where it's just hard as you get older, because everyone, especially when you're in your 30s, and you're all kind of past the point of being social for the sake of it. You're past the point of going out and drinking and all that stuff, and everybody's got kids, and just you got stuff to worry about that's more important than hanging out with your buddies. And so it's really hard for me to connect with people, even just on a professional or just a basic level anymore, just because the anxieties that I get from the fact that I don't really trust people like I used to, just because I've had bad luck in the past, and things and friendships and other relationships that I held dear, they just completely crumbled at the foundation and just became nothing, where these people at one point were like my family, and now they're strangers. I have no idea what's going on in their lives, and it's just just like I said, it's just another point of anxiety and everything for me. But obviously, as the years have gone by, I've just had to accept it, and that has eased a lot, especially since I started doing this, even though it's only been, a few episodes. But I feel like my anxieties about that particular situation, where I can make that particular decision with a little more ease, just to, it's finally out there. I finally can just kind of let it go. It's something that's in the past. It's something I can't fix. We're all completely different people than we were when we were close and hanging out every single day. And it's just, it's finally become one of those things that I can just say there's nothing to be anxious about as far as those old broken relationships are concerned, because we have all moved on, and I can finally just be like, it's over, it's gone. It's, you need to just remove it from your mind or whatever, and just accept the fact that it's something that you can't change. So that's been one decision anyways that's become easier over time, and especially since I started sharing my stories with you guys. But I've also just kind of accepted too, that is, in some situations, that is just a fact of growing up, where you're going to lose, sometimes your closest friends. You'll especially lose just all your drinking buddies or all your acquaintances from your earlier years. But like, of course, it's from growing up. It's from everybody having kids and all that. But it was also during those years where I knew these friendships were falling apart, where I made the decision, which was an easy decision, as far as I knew that I wanted to be successful in some way or another, and I, kind of made the decision to let these friendships fall apart in some sense, where I knew I could not continue living like I was, where I did not want to look back and say that I kind of gave up, where I am stuck in a situation that I don't want to be in. And so that was why I kind of made the choice to kind of let those all go, because I couldn't let that stuff hold me back, even though it was kind of crushing at the point. But I made that decision, even though, like I said, it filled me with all types of anxiety and kind of regret and anger and just a mix of many different emotions, where I had to just, kind of walk away. And I did. That's when I left and I went out west, and I was out there for 3 years. And it was during that time that these friendships just kind of went to crap. And, it was just that decision where I left, where I didn't have a choice but to make that, where I had to go, I had to pursue other things, because, job-wise, where I was at the time with the particular skill set that I had, it was not going to do me any good in the Midwest. So I left and I went out west and did the government thing again, like I had done previously. But anyways, getting away from the broken friendship aspect of decision making. After my time out west, I came home, I went back to school, and, that was another anxiety-ridden decision-making process that I went through, because I was so nervous that I was going to fail. And, just the idea of failing just makes me want to give up. And it's, a constant fight within my head, because I was also terrified at the end of that first semester, just one of the finals that I had to do. I knew that if I didn't have help with it, I was going to fail. And from that failure, it would make me want to give up and just settle into a life that I didn't want to, just because it was easier. But, thank God for my wife, where she pushed me not to give up, and I did end up getting through it and everything. But the anxiety-ridden decision to stick with school as well, because it did get harder in some aspects, because I still was working that shit schedule where I would get out of work at 7 in the morning, and if I wanted to continue with school, I needed to go to class, which was, an hour after I got off work. And I would power through those classes, especially the last couple semesters, because I didn't really have a choice but to show up, because they were classes that, were kind of the backhanded or the required classes just to meet your requirements for your degree. So there were particular things that I was not good at, like math. I'm fucking terrible at math, and tell you what, math is just a whole nother level of anxiety. I am fucking terrible at math, but we won't get into that, because that's just a whole fucking story all on its own. But I had to do these classes, And I did all these classes, and I finally got through everything. And after that, it was just, every day was just another anxiety filled decision just to push forward and decide whether or not I'm going to work for something better than what I had. Because, like I've discussed, I think before, anyways, where the job I had at the time was absolutely fucking terrible. And I couldn't live doing that because just the schedule alone, it was probably it was probably the worst schedule I'd ever worked. And I had done some random off the wall round the clock schedules, but it was doing that, and it was being exposed to the chemicals and the air that I was exposed to. And I'm sorry, but somebody wasn't doing their job, and someone's getting paid for that place even still being open. But but aside from that, even leaving that job that I was familiar with was kind of, it wasn't as bad. Trust me. The day that I found out I was getting that little IT job, my first one, and it was just some piddly contract thing just to get some experience. I went to HR that day, on my off day, to tell them that I am fucking quitting. And so that was actually not any kind of anxiety. That was just a thrill to do. And I wish I could actually do it differently, where I just, walk in there and give them the finger. But unfortunately, I'm a little bit more professional than that and just can't bring myself to do that. But so that all came to a head. And so it's just been kind of every day is just kind of one anxiety-ridden decision after another. Even continuing to do this podcast has, I've definitely had my off days where I've thought to myself, just because I'm in a shitty mood or whatever, what's the point of continuing this show? Like I said, it may or may not go anywhere, but I have to try. And that's probably going to be a choice that I'm going to have to make probably every few days or so, where I have to tell myself just to keep doing it, man. Just keep going. You've had a couple people tell you that they actually enjoy it. So, every day is just going to be a choice whether or not to keep doing this, but I'm going to keep doing it no matter what. There's got to be something better out there. I'm just constantly trying to think of every decision that I can make that can have a positive effect on this, because I want it to go somewhere. I want it to eventually be something maybe I can do for a living. But, I know that the chances of that are slim, but either way, I'm still going to try, and I'm going to market the shit out of myself, which I'm trying to do all the time. And just, try to find that audience, try to find the listeners that halfway give a shit. Even if it's only like a half listen, I'm still going to make that decision and make that difficult choice to keep putting it out there, because I know it could be a year, maybe 2 years before I see anything of benefit come from this. But that's also not really the point too. You just want this has become my therapy when I'm just trying to get my message out there. So I just hope that people half listen to it and give it a chance. And I promise I'm going to try to make it better as it goes along. I am, I'm open to criticism, constructive or otherwise. You can contact me and tell me my show sucks if that makes you feel better. I mean, that's fine too. This is all about trying to overcome things and build something better. Whereas, I know that people aren't always going to agree with or like what you're doing, but that's a part of trying to overcome the many types of anxiety that I have, where I have to convince myself to push forward, even though aside from my wife, I'm probably the only person cheering myself on. But it's just a matter of continuing to get up and do it every day. I have to do it just because, I'm not getting any younger. I've jumped around professionally, and it's just time to give it a go and see what happens. And if anyone out there listening is, feeling these same kind of feelings where they're wanting to pursue something that maybe isn't realistic in a lot of people's eyes, and you just don't want to, you talk yourself out of it more or less. I'm just here to say, just fucking do it, dude. Just fucking take the chance, even if it's just something like this where there's minimal risk. I mean, that does help. Where you just put it out there and you see what happens. That's just been my experience here in the last few weeks, where I've just wanted to do this and put it out there. If people hear it, that's cool. If not, that's cool too. But all I can say is the one thing that I regret is I wish I would have had this slight confidence, even though I still struggle with my anxieties and everything, to have done this earlier in life. I did, because I kind of, in my opinion, did things kind of out of order growing up. A lot of people went to college right after high school. I didn't go to college until I was 29, and it was just a junior college, but it still got me where I needed to be and got me the accreditation that I needed to pursue anything that I even halfway enjoyed. But I did that, and then before that, though, I had bought a house, then I got married, or then I had my kid, and just I've kind of just even though I had all those years in my 20s where I could have been doing this, but I was kind of being a jackass, where I just kind of did things out of order, I guess, in some aspects. But all I can say is, I just wish I would have had the confidence just to do something like this earlier, because you see all these people that, in my opinion, make some of the stupidest content out there, and they're doing it for a living, and it just kind of blows your mind, the things that people will get paid to do. But then again, you go back to the the early 2000s, where Jackass got really big, and those guys are fucking millionaires now. But that's neither here nor there. But in the sense, maybe eventually I'll make content for YouTube, but it probably won't be anytime soon, because hey, anxieties, I hate my fucking face, and I don't want to be on camera that bad. So there's always that. I've definitely got the envy down in that department for people that have the confidence to be on camera, where you just see these people and it's like, I fucking hate you, where you just put your damn face on the camera. Like my best friend, he's a good looking guy. He always has been, and just like, you gorgeous bastard. It's just one of those things that's annoying as all shit. But again, it's just the anxieties that I have about anything and everything. But I think it's time to wrap it all up. I think I've talked as much as I can about this particular subject. There is always going to be anxieties about decisions, big or small. The only thing that I can say is that you just can't let them hold you back or cripple you from making that decision. You have to just find the confidence to push forward and make a decision, even if it's not a popular decision. I've definitely had that experience as well, but you have to push forward. You have to try to get better. That's what all this is all about. Just trying to find that inner strength to do what you need to do to make yourself better, make yourself feel better about yourself. Just all around overcome anything that you can at this point in this life. But yeah, so that's all I can really say about that. It's been real. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you will continue to come back for more, because I still, even though it's a very small number still, I still see those numbers creeping up every day. I hope that continues the trend, and I hope it gets bigger and faster. But anyways, for the ones that have been listening, the ones that continue to listen, I hope you keep coming back. But this is, if you want to find me, I am also on Spotify, I'm on Amazon and Google, and there's a bunch of other little podcast sites that I'm not really familiar with. Eventually, I think I might try to put it out on Apple as well, but that requires some extra work. But yeah, so thanks for listening, and I hope you have a good day, good week, good night, good whatever, and just keep pushing forward, and I will catch you guys next time. This has been All Effed Up with Will. Take it easy.